Hey guys, today we're going to be analyzing all of the brand new trailers we've received for episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8, Illusion, Determination, Passion, and Reunion. So as always, before we get into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. Now, let's get into it. Starting off first with the Illusion trailer, it begins with us getting a look at Nino, Adrian, Alia, and Marinette all grabbing food from the cafeteria, and I've missed seeing the four of them all hanging out together, so I'm already looking forward to this episode, and this will actually be the first time we get a chance to see Adrian eating with them in the cafeteria. And by no surprise, Lila is trying to tag along and grab a seat with them, when Marinette very obviously declines and spreads herself across the table while glaring at her, and as Lila is leaving, something ends up happening that causes for Nino to grab Adrian to run, along with Marinette, Alia, and even Lila. Something to also note here, and that we get to see more of throughout this entire trailer, is that everyone except for Marinette is wearing their own alliance ring. We then see the four of them end up in Nino's secret hangout spot in the boiler room that we saw back in Rocketeer last season, which has now been covered with images of different people who I assume are being suspected by Nino of possibly being Monarch. Now, the last time both Nino and Adrian were here, some very confidential information was shared, and seeing now as they return, and Alia and Marinette being by their side, I'm curious if we'll perhaps get any parallels, and what exactly it is Nino will use as evidence to tell them all if it is he's looking for suspects. I already feel bad for Adrian, and we haven't even gotten to see the full context of this scene. And before we see the last of the boiler room scenes in the trailer, we do find out that Lila was as well eavesdropping their conversation, so we can most likely assume she'll go and run off to tell Gabriel about this. And that does worry me because while Gabriel might be the one being suspected here, this too can add a target on Marinette and Adrian's back, seeing as Nino and Alia's hero identities have already been uncovered. As Adrian is leaving his room and as well leaving his alliance ring behind, while picking up his phone call from Nino, we see him passing by Gabriel's room, and out of concern as Adrian opens the door to peek inside, he can see Gabriel struggling while holding his stomach, as we can see what might just be blood. Now, considering the name of this episode, we can at some point expect to see the Fox Miraculous be used in some way, and I believe it'll be used to cover up for Gabriel and mislead everyone. While there's no denying the Miraculous have had some serious effects on his health, and now with his new Cataclysm scar adding even more stress onto himself, I still think that at least for the time being, he hasn't gotten to this point physically. However, seeing as the door was closed, this too makes me think he really is in that kind of pain, and that this might not just be an illusion or act. Either way, I do assume that Adrian will confront him here to try and help him, but as I've also mentioned, if this is an act, then it can work out very smoothly in Gabriel's favor, because in the condition he's in, how could one expect him to carry on with his everyday life, nonetheless go around akumatizing people or running around as Monarch? And just as we reach the end of this trailer, we can see Monarch use the power of the Be Miraculous and seemingly make his escape as the Collector into a teleportation portal. For once, it seems he's the one hiding and running away from Ladybug and Cat Noir, and I think it's all just because of the act going on and or illusion. Next up, we have the Determination trailer, and just like Illusion, this too is looking like a really interesting episode where we can see Mr. Bourgeois in the Wax Museum with Veronique, where he seems to be taking a peek at the new statues that'll be inside, where we can see one of Vesperia. Based off of the look on Veronique's face, it seems that Mr. Bourgeois isn't allowing of these new statues to be in the museum, and I have a feeling this could very well be influenced by Chloe's wishes of not wanting to see one of Vesperia, but rather a Queen Bee one. In the museum, we can also see Marinette, Adrian, Luca, and Kagami, and I can already tell how much I'm going to love this episode, because basically what I'm getting here is that Luca and Kagami are running off from Marinette and Adrian in order to force them to be together, and I've just missed seeing some of my favorite characters like Kagami and Luca. However, keeping in mind the new statues that will be introduced to us us this episode, and that Veronique will be akumatized and hold control over them and their every move, Ladybug and Cat Noir will have to face off with them all, including Bunnix, and Monarch will at some point transmit the power the Ox Miraculous grants to Veronique. Next up is Passion, and the trailer begins with Natalie entering Adrian's room to see that he's not in bed, and that's when we get our first look at the Agrest kitchen. I am so excited that we are finally going to learn and understand why it is the kitchen was needed as much as it was, because originally, as explained in a conference that happened during last season, the Agrest kitchen was going to be used in the Gabriel Agrest episode. However, they ended up having to push it into season 5. As Natalie enters the kitchen, Adrian happens to rush out, which I assume could be so that he's not late for school, and as Gabriel and Natalie are putting on this perfect act, just like that, Natalie grabs Gabriel's hand and is absolutely furious with him. Later on, we then see Natalie go down into the basement to confront Gabriel, and that's when Natalie becomes akumatized. During the episode, we can expect for her to be bringing back Time Tagger, and from previous spoilers, we as well know that she will be granted the power the Goat Miraculous offers. And not only is it interesting to see her being akumatized again after so long, but that her akumatization continues to revolve around such deep emotions within herself. While she tends to come across very apathetic to most people, seeing how much she cares for certain people, such as Adrian and possibly even Emily, is actually very heartwarming and also makes me realize how much I wouldn't want to get on her bad side. And as for the last thing shown through the trailer, we will also be seeing the return of Mr. Bug and Lady Noir in this episode. If I had to choose what episodes I'm currently most excited for this season, they would 100% be Passion, Reunion, and Emotion. And lastly, our most recent trailer and craziest so far, and that being for episode 8, Reunion. While it appears to be that the class is on a school field trip and getting a chance to learn more about Alex/Bunnix, we suddenly see Alia and Marinette get up to go on a search for where a secretive guardian symbol is located, and I think this could be because either one, Marinette and Alia happen to look more into the Quagatamas themselves, or perhaps when they were looking through Bunnix's photos, she'd purposely left a clue behind for Ladybug that would lead her to better understanding her past. After Marinette finds the guardian symbol and presses her Quagatama against it, something even she wasn't prepared to see happens, and a line of photos of people surround her, and I believe this is no other than all of the former Ladybug Miraculous holders. Guys, I cannot even express how excited I am to see this. Soon enough, however, Monarch finds his next prey, and that happening to be Alex's brother Shalil, turning him into Pharaoh again, where we can see that he happens to be protecting something. And as if this trailer wasn't crazy enough, considering the title of this episode being Reunion, Ladybug will be getting to reunite with a former holder she'd met last season, and that being Shun. I cannot wait for this episode, and this might just mean we can as well expect to see Adrian receive his very own Quagatama from Plague, and if not in this episode, then possibly very soon. This has me imagining now if Marinette and Adrian's Quagatamas were to be put together and what would happen. But as always, what do you guys think? As a recap for all of our upcoming episode air dates, next week Glue will air episode 4, Jubilation, on October 24th, and Teifu will be sharing episode 6, Determination, on October 28th, along with episode 7, Passion, on October 31st, episode 8, Reunion, on November 1st, and on November 2nd, episode 5, Illusion. Along with next week, we also have the release of the new Miraculous game, Rise of the Sphinx, which will be releasing on October 25th, and with that, we did receive a new trailer for it, in which shared even more new teasers of the game. As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts and theories down below, and subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. And I'll see you guys in the next one.